Welcome back to Foundational. We are continuing our user-friendly Bible reading of the book of Genesis, which will become a Genesis through Joshua series. And we are highlighting the words as on this card. And our goal is to get a big picture of what God is communicating, what he is revealing about himself throughout the Bible. So we're on Genesis chapter 7 in the middle of the story of Noah. And then the Lord said to Noah. Now the last thing before the then is that God had started a covenant with Noah, first use of that word, and commanded him to build the ark and to bring in the animals. And the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen." I have seen. God is the one who sees. "I have seen that you are righteous before me." Righteous before me, righteous by God's standards in this generation. "Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean." So much for the child's story of 2 by 2. 2 by 2 tubs come in, but there's also 7 pairs of all clean animals. "And 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens also, male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth." So God establishes his purpose here to keep Noah and his family alive and to keep the animals and birds alive. "For in 7 days let's shift this down a little bit, sorry. 7 days I will send rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing I have made." Again, establishes him as creator. I think we missed some in the last pages, marking the creation thing. "That I have made, I will blot out." I have made, I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. We've seen that before, right? That phrase? The end of chapter 6, Noah did all the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood, of clean animals and of animals that are not clean, and of birds and of everything that creeps on the ground. 2 and 2, male and female, went into the ark with Noah, as God had commanded Noah. Interesting third use of this commanded. "And after 7 days the waters of the flood came upon the earth." In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day Noah and his sons, Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark. They and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to their kinds, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, every winged creature. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2, all flesh, in which there was the breath of life. And those that entered, male and female, of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him. This is one of the things I like about this reading system is, I don't know that I've seen this clearly before, but we definitely have. He sets up a covenant, which isn't really defined, but he tells Noah, I'm going to set up my covenant, and this is what you're going to do. And God commanded him. Noah did all God commanded him. Noah did all God commanded him. All God commanded him. It's repeated a number of times as if the author wants us to catch something here. And you can mark that if you want. You can, take for instance, a brown colored pencil, underline each coming of the commanded, or you can just think and write down in your notes here. That's a good way to handle it. Instead of starting a new marking, you might say, okay, commanded repeated this way and that way. Might be a word to highlight next time. As in, next time you read through Genesis, starting with Genesis, or next time you read through another book, you might look for it. But you're just making a note for yourself. This is kind of note to self, NTS, note to self. Great way to use the margins in your journaling Bible. And all those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded Noah, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Noah does what God commanded. God does what is necessary to protect them. The flood continued 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything on the dry land, in whose nostrils was the breath of life, died. He blotted out every living thing. He? Who? Noah? No, God. God, who was grieved at the wickedness of man, blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those who were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. So only Noah, the one with whom he has made a covenant, is left. A storage locker question that comes up, for me even, and I think over time I've gotten some ideas about it, but I think this question makes sense. Why if man was wicked, did all the animals have to be destroyed also? Except there was a remnant, right? And asking the question is helpful just because by putting it in there, it draws to mind, it shows me, oh, in God's economy, God's wisdom, God's justice, God's goodness, the wickedness of man has an effect on the animals, and it's a great thing for your storage locker. As you read on other things, you may make other connections that make you think of this, and that's the use of the storage locker. So, second chapter of the story of Noah. Only Noah was left and those who were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. And in this situation, God is clearly in control. He's the one acting. He's the one doing. He's the one who set the covenant. And this shows us a bit more about this God. And we continue to pray that God would reveal himself to us. Amen.